Hey everyone, Melissa and Kristin from CIR Realty here. Today on our episode of Heart and Hustle, we're chatting with Dorothy from Great West Radon. Dorothy, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, ladies.
So tell us a little bit about Great West Radon. What is your business?
So we're a family-run business that we started doing home inspections, and we've now transitioned fully into the radon testing and radon mitigation businesses. So I'm not sure if your viewers know about radon. It's kind of a polarizing topic in the sense that either you know all about it or you have no idea what it is. But it's just a gas that causes lung cancer. So it's just something that we stumbled upon when we started our previous business.
So you were in home inspections before and that evolved into the business you're now in.
Yeah, so we started the home inspection business in early 2017, and it didn't take very long to hear about radon testing. We just kind of came across it, having a friend of ours get suggested to test their home, which is kind of how radon works. I think for the most part, it's a very word of mouth thing. People experience it, and then they realize the whole routine of how it goes. They find out, they test, they realize that they did have really high levels, and they fix the problem, and they tell people about it. So that's how we came across it. We did all of our certifications and started learning more about it. And the more we learned about it, the more we saw that it was a big deal, that it was something that needed to be addressed, and there needed to be more people in that line of work. So we started focusing more on it, and then we realized how much of our business came from it and how much more we could help people. So we decided to just completely transition. We dropped home inspections altogether very shortly afterwards, and we just have been doing the radon testing and radon mitigations for good 2.5 years now.
So I know, like in my business as a realtor, Melissa's probably noticed this as well. Over the past couple of years, we've been hearing a lot more about radon and radon testing, and just in the news and through our brokerage. Why would someone contact you? Are there any red flags? Are there any indications, anything that homeowners should be aware of or watching for?
Not particularly in terms of maybe symptoms or anything like that. And I think that's why there is so much advertising associated with it. So every November is Radon Action Month. So all of like the Lung Cancer Society, the Cancer Society, the news, everybody is then taking that time to highlight the fact that radon gas is odorless and colorless, tasteless, and no human senses are able to pick up on it. And the only way you are able to know what your levels are is getting your home tested. So Health Canada has recently put out a measure to send out postcards to, I think it's 1.5 or so, 1.5 million homes every year, just highlighting why radon testing should be done, that it's inexpensive. You can do long-term testing, which is what's suggested, and every single home needs to be tested. So my next door neighbor could have really, really high levels, and my levels could be low, and vice versa. So it's not necessarily, you know, we hear a lot of word of mouth and that next door app, you know, when the neighborhood shares like their information that they come across or good trades and they share the information. I've seen many times people having discussions saying, oh, my neighbor tested and their levels were fine, or we live in a low risk area, so I don't have to test my home. And those are really things that people have misunderstood, and they're not true at all. So it's just, that's why realtors are such a great resource, and we do a lot of presentations at brokerages, following up to the RECA training. So the most recent RECA recertification that realtors go through did talk about radon testing as well this year.
Yeah.
And going forward, all new realtors are getting trained on radon as well, just promoting homeowners, current homeowners, future homeowners to just test their home.
That's amazing. Just getting educated and then spreading that awareness.
Definitely, that's a big part of our job is education and just getting the word out there.
Well, because like the word still is spreading. I think people are becoming more aware, but the more we talk about it, the more awareness there is.
Absolutely.
Can you speak to, tell us a little bit about the testing process and maybe the mitigation and remediation of?
Perfect. So testing, the number one thing to remember is that long-term testing is the most important part about testing. You can use a variety of methods. There's a lot of different technology out there. Long-term testing is the most inexpensive. They're just these little black pucks that you put around their home. They're about, this big. They're passive devices, so you just leave it in the mentioned area. So there's instructions that come with it telling you that it should be within a breathing zone, so you don't want to put it on the floor or in a furnace room, a place where you spend 4 more hours per day. And the test needs to be at least 90 days and up to 1 year long. And that would give the device the exposure for a long enough time that would allow the lab to then analyze it and tell you what your long-term average exposure would be, because that's how radon gas works. It's not like other gases that are an immediate threat. Like if it's in your home, call the fire department. It's not like an immediate thing. It's a long-term exposure game. So the higher the level is over the longer period of time, the higher your risk of lung cancer is. So the long-term testing is key. People buy digital monitors, especially people with young kids or people who have pre-existing conditions or just very concerned about their health. As soon as they find out about radon, they want to know what their levels are right away.
Those from your company?
Yes, so we sell all of this on our website under the products page at greatwestradon.com, and you can buy digital devices or the long-term testing devices. Obviously, the passive devices are a lot more inexpensive. Those test kits run around $65. That includes shipment to your home and return shipping to the lab as well as analysis. And then the digital monitors start more around the $200 mark. Those can be reset and you can share them with family and friends. A lot of people tend to do that. And then you're able to see if your levels are quite high, you're able to reset that monitor. And after mitigation is done, you can see that your levels have been drastically reduced as well. Whereas the passive devices, the $65 ones, are a one-time use.
So you get to see the before and after the results. Awesome.
Yeah, to make sure that it is working. In terms of mitigation, in its most simplest form, we come in and we do the diagnostics once you've told us what your levels are, they're at a level that you're uncomfortable with. We come in and we do the diagnostics, and then we core a hole into the slab of your home, and then install piping and an inline fan, and then vent it out the side of your home. And that just ensures that the slab is constantly under a negative pressure, and that you're venting the radon gas out of your home instead of letting it gather to unsafe levels within the home itself.
I think so. I've seen Melissa works with a new home builder. They're putting these in brand new homes. I don't know if it's mandatory or not, but
it is. Yeah. So as of 2015, a radon rough-in pipe is part of building code. So again, this is I think the biggest thing that we struggle with in our industry is people that have never heard of it just think it's like this new thing. It's the new health craze, and a lot of people, I think, struggle with kind of buying into it as a legitimate health concern.
Yeah.
So what we do like to point out is the fact that this is something that has been 100% proven. It does cause lung cancer. It is the #1 cause of lung cancer in non-smokers. So if you are somebody that has been diagnosed with lung cancer and you're not a smoker, the #1 thing they'll tell you to do is get radon testing done in your home, because most of the time it is related to that. Especially for younger kids or people that have pre-existing conditions. Sometimes people are just generally radiation sensitive, and that would cause them to be more affected by radon gas in the home as well. So having the home builders now, as of 2015, putting in the radon mitigation rough-ins ensures that it makes it an easier process for people then to install a mitigation system if their levels are high, because it is becoming such a growing health concern.
That's amazing. Any questions, Melissa, before we wrap up?
I think you covered it all.
Yeah, sorry I've been talking so much. This is just so interesting.
Yeah, no, I feel like I've been talking the whole time. Yeah, I feel like definitely we just like when people share their experience. If you are somebody who has tested your home, it's great to be able to let other people know, hey, I tested my home, and sometimes the levels come back really, really low, which is great. And then your process is done, right? And if you do need a mitigation system, it's not something that will affect the sale of your home. It's not something that will condemn your home. We got to move or anything like that. It's a very simple problem to fix. It's fixed forever if your radon mitigation system is constantly running after that. It's in your mechanical room like your furnace, and it's just running and it's permanently solving the problem for you. So it's not something that's scary, and it's just something that we want to bring attention to. You know, lung cancer, 21,000 people a year die from lung cancer. So it's something that it's a preventative thing to make sure that people are just testing their homes, fixing the problems to prevent a lot of unnecessary lung cancer diagnosis in Canada.
Absolutely. That's amazing. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Dorothy.
Thank you, ladies.
I learned a lot, and I think our viewers have probably learned a lot as well. To learn more about Dorothy's business, Great West Radon, to have your business featured on our website and to be interviewed, please go to www.parkbench.com/Arbor Lake. Thanks, Dorothy.
Thank you.